we're obviously only a few days away from, a massive pay-per-view here in Australia, a country that's been, starved for a big event like this. So what are the emotions now that camp's out of the way, just got to make weight and then go fist fight someone in front of a sold-out arena?
Yeah, the only advice I got from sort of some athletes who have gone through similar things was to, try and slow down and take it in a little bit because it goes really quick. So I'm just, my weight's good, so I'm not stressed about that. So for me, it's just, taking it all in, enjoying the process of being here and getting a fight day in good shape.
Were there moments in camp where maybe you didn't want to allow yourself to view this as the enormity of this event and just treat this as another event? When Josh Kulabov was in here and he said that he had to kind of convince himself that this was a massive event, do the opposite.
Yeah, I think I was pretty lucky in the path that I took to get here. I was the number one guy in Australia for a few years before I got my shot on Contenders. And then Contenders is kind of a halfway house for the big show, which is the UFC. And then, so I think I've kind of been broken in on my way here. So it kind of feels normal to me now. But yeah, you don't know when you get out there in that big RAC arena in front of the Perth crowd whether it's going to turn around. But you don't know what you don't know. So I'm just taking it as it comes.
Then your opponent, obviously, Don, he had a 30-second knockout loss in his last fight. So is the blueprint there? Did you learn enough about his skill set in there, after watching that?
Nah, look, for me, scratch that. We're both debutantes coming in here off win streaks on the local scene, as far as I'm concerned. To look at someone taking a fight on 5 days' notice to get into the biggest promotion in the world against Sadiq Youssef, who's a top 10 guy, and take that as, some kind of practice run wouldn't be right for me to do my camp properly. So the way I treated it was that he's a winning guy. He's coming in from the local scene. I'm a winning guy coming in from the local scene via Contenders, and we're going to find out who's on the upward trajectory from here.
Is it difficult fighting another guy from the local scene? Would you rather have someone, fly in from the other side of the world to fight you in enemy territory?
Well, that's what he's doing now, flying in from, I think he's from the East Coast, and I did that trip last time, and I did it on short notice, so I know it's pretty tough. But, if I'm honest, I want him here in good shape. I want to be able to put on my skill set against someone who's going to stand there and go.
Then unrelated to this fight, but can I ask what your fighter nickname means? Yeah,
so there's a famous Australian racehorse called Farlap. It's an anatomical freak. It has a heart twice the size of a normal racehorse, and it's kind of a bit of a colloquial phrase here that someone has a heart as big as Farlap. If somebody doesn't give up or somebody is quite dogged in and determined in what they do. So that kind of name was bestowed upon me by one of my coaches as I was coming up, and I've just stuck with it since then.
And final one for me: how do you see the main event playing out between Alex and Islam?
I think Alex is going to get into that sort of end of the third round and really find his feet. I think the first 2 rounds are going to go how people kind of see it going. Maybe Islam takes him down. Alex tries to get back up. Maybe he shoots again. But the class that Alex has and the fitness and the pace that he's able to put on, nobody understands it until they get in there with him. Max Holloway is known as a cardio freak, right? Everyone was pretty broad on that. And then when Alex went in there with him and went 5 rounds and 5 rounds, Alex was the one putting the pace on. So I don't think it's going to be any different here. The weight cut's going to be cruisy for him. Well, we don't know, Islam's going to be cutting weight. So, yeah, I think after midway through the third round, Alex will take over.
And Jack, is there any pressure to stand after being called a one-trick pony by Dana White?
No pressure outside of that. I want bonus money. Right, the fastest way to get bonus money is to do good shit on the feet. So that's what I'm here to do. If it turns into a grappling match, I put in all the work on the ground to have a skill set that's going to be able to stand up at the top level of the UFC. But I've made no secret on my way up through the local scene that I want to stand and strike.
Now, you might not be a Perth boy, but how much of Bacchus Marsh is coming over?
We nearly filled a couple of 747s, if I'm honest. We probably 250, 300 just from my town. And then if you went a bit more broad Melbourne, between the gyms and stuff, I reckon we'll be pushing 350, 400.
And has anyone sent you any messages on social media on tips for the fight like last time?
No, I'm going to meet up with young Ben P, I think, and we'll have a chat and discuss a little bit of game plan once he's reviewed the tape. But no, my DMs have been pretty clear of that sort of thing for the time being.
Thanks, mate.
Hey, Jack, tell us a little bit about Absolute MMA, because you guys have been absolutely killing it. You've got a bunch of fighters coming up on Hex who are fighting for the title, and it looks like there's going to be a lot of names coming through the gym into the UFC very soon.
Yeah, well, from when we all started putting that team together, probably about 6 years ago, we were all quite certain that once somebody sort of broke down the door and opened that door for us, that we were all going to get in and we were going to be known as one of those gyms. You saw it with City Kickboxing, where relatively unknown gym, and then they're all putting in the work behind the scenes. Then one guy gets in, and then that opens the door for everyone else to come in and do really well. And now they're one of the biggest teams in the world. And I really believe that at Absolute, we're going to have something similar happen, and I'm going to be the one leading the way.
How you going, Jack? First of
Good,
all,
mate.
as a
How are you?
Kiwi... Oh, I'm great, thanks, mate. First of all, as a Kiwi, I just want to say Wikipedia says Far Lap's a Kiwi horse.
New Zealand bred horse, Australian trained.
And then we could probably debate Pavlova as well, where that started. But coming to like a massive stage and it being another kind of thing you have to think about and deal with, and the stimulus and stuff when you're walking out, have you kind of taken any mental preparation or seek any help to kind of how you're going to cope with it?
I think at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know, as I touched on earlier. So if you try and prepare too much to feel a certain way or calm yourself down, and it's not that way, you can kind of throw yourself off anyway. So I'm just preparing as normal. And, I've never had a problem being the center of attention. I've never had a problem having all eyes on me. So walking out in front of, 15,000, for me, it's just a bigger platform to do what I've been doing for the better part of my whole life anyway. Like I said, hopefully that carries through to when I'm actually walking out. But, I can only go off what I know, and what I know is that I like being in the middle and I like fronting up.
And once you're in the ring, on the octagon, do you kind of notice the crowd or anything, or is it just tunnel vision, you and your opponent sort of thing?
Well, it's funny. When I was on Contender Series, I realised that I kind of was focused on what was going on outside, because I could hear like the cameraman saying, move that cord, and it kind of pulled me out a little bit. Whereas in the past, I think the crowd acts as a little bit of a white noise for you, so you can zone in. And now this white noise is going to be a lot louder, so hopefully it just zones me in even more.
Cheers, thanks, mate.
Thank you.